With the first inning program ending and the second inning on the horizon, Weekend Classic debuting with absolutely enormous rewards, it is time to rank, tier listing every position in MLB The Show 25. Let me know your favorite, most underrated gems in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you guys do enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's go. But first, a couple of ground rules. I've tried most every card in the game and have faced just the same. I will be ranking these cards primarily based on their merit online. Most every card is good offline, but for this tier list, I will be keeping metas in mind. Also, there will be some natural bias. If I hit well with the card, I'm probably going to show them love. So starting with the catchers. Now, these cards are in no particular order within their tier, although some of them you can probably figure it out for yourself. The backstops. I think S tier, there's three guys that you could really have. Jason Varitek, who's like $5K on the market, very cheap, switch hitting catcher. Really see him often online. Mike Napoli, he's expensive. You need Trout, but he's damn good, one of the best hitters. And then Ted Simmons, another switch hitting catcher. Very similar to Varitek, more contact than the captain, but again, another nice choice. He is just more expensive. So if you want a cheap S-tier catcher, Varitek is like 4 or 5K. Moving down to A tier, we have four guys that I like quite a bit. The catcher spot is always going to be a thinner position. Most players cannot play that as a secondary. Dalton Rushing, he was my catcher for a very long time. Lefty with a nice swing, super easy to time up the ball. Decent defensively. I don't think anybody can throw anybody out within online play this year. So you just kind of have him for fun, just to catch balls and throw it back to the pitcher. That's pretty much his job. Gary Sanchez, a lot of power, actually one of the better defensive catchers in the game, even though I just said what I said. Samuel Basallo, again for the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles are going to have three catchers here, just to let you know. Basallo's got a great power lefty swing. I like him quite a bit. Will Smith. Obviously, live series cards have the benefit of playing up on inside edge, and the higher overalls are typically up most days that they are playing, so keep that in mind. I always think Will Smith cards crush within MLB The Show. This one is no different. Moving on to the B tier. There's another Oriole, Adley Rutschman. His hitting stats are not next level, but he's a switch hitting catcher, so that adds a lot of value. Craig Biggio, shout out Magunski, the famed third leg Craig. He's great because he's an athletic catcher that can play other positions as well. So you can put him on your bench as a backup catcher to fill in if you need a pinch hitter or whatever the case may be, and he can also play around the diamond. He's got good contact, good speed. Johnny Bench, I'm typically not big fans of Johnny Bench cards, but considering how thin the position is right now, he's really not a bad option. Kyle Higashioka, the home run stroker. Such high power. I love that card very, very much so. I hit enormously well. I was hitting off PCI home runs on Hall of Fame with Kyle Higashioka. Kyle Teal, brand new White Sox. He is all right. I don't see him too often, but overall decent. Then William Contreras, apparently playing down right here whenever Showzone captured that picture, but William Contreras murders lefties. Definitely a decent option for you as well. Moving on into C tier. Now, if a guy is mainly a platoon bat like Austin Wells is, they're probably not going to rank too high because realistically, I don't think you should use Austin Wells against lefties. He hits righties well, but not so much the southpaws, and that definitely hinders his overall value. Ben Rice from the Yankees team Affinity, super high power, the big dumper. Cal Raleigh, one of the best defensive catchers, switch hitter with some pop as well. Drake Baldwin for the Braves. You've got Pudge, Mauer, which I do prioritize power, which Mauer does not have much, nor does Pudge. And those are going to affect my rankings a little bit. It is not that contact hitters cannot be effective. It's just, as you would know from playing online, if you hit a perfect ground ball or a perfect liner, it's a lot more likely to be caught than one that goes over the wall, right? So power definitely Does matter. Power is king pretty much always, but that's not to say contact hitters cannot be effective. You've got JT, Mike Piazza, Salvi, Travis d'Arnaud, Wilson Contreras, Yadier Diaz, then D tier. Probably you guys are past using, like a gold Lime Series Gabby Moreno, but everybody that I do put on the tier list, I would at least recommend that you could use them. Obviously, guys I'd highest recommend are at the top here, but that's how it goes. So let's move on to first base. No surprise here, Gil Hodges is in a tier of his own. He is fantastic. He is 100 plus everything, hitting wise. He's tremendous, but he's also going to cost you Ohtani, Ketel, Mookie, Soto, Lindor, Harper, probably over 1 million stubs, so very hard to get. Well, if you can't get him, there's some great guys in A tier. Anthony Santander. He is getting a lot cheaper. Now that the new thread packs are more abundant, you can get them more frequently. He's a switch hitter with great power both ways, decent contact. He could play the outfield as well. I think I'd rather play him in first just because he's not great defensively. And I do keep in mind actual defensive ratings because this year, again, it matters. Reaction rating is king for both infield and outfield, and I pay that respect within these rankings, or at least do my due diligence to find the balance that I think is right between hitting and fielding. But you have your own prerogative on that, of course. I don't love when I have a 50 reaction shortstop that lets the ball go past him every single time. That frustrates me. So it's finding somewhere in the middle. Bryce Harper, I put him up to A tier here. I love his swing. I think he might have the best swing in MLB The Show. He has pretty much every quirk in the game, which adds to how good he is, and he plays up pretty much every single day. Harper's great. You get Chase Headley. Again, collection reward, very expensive. And switch hitter, good defense. Really is going to punish righties, but decent against lefties. Ortiz, let me say Ortiz, I think he's a great hitter, but he's got 10 speed, which makes things really difficult if you don't hit the ball over the wall. When you have a guy with that low of speed, you are constantly putting yourself at a disadvantage. Every time you hit the ball into play that you can't stretch the single into a double, every time you hit a fly ball when Ortiz is on second base and you can't tag up to third, it's a liability. So that kind of steers me away from using guys like Poppy. I'm getting thrown out a lot this year, and I don't need his slow ass carrying me down. Don Baylor, I platoon him and Harper on my team. I love him primarily against lefties. B tier, there is a lot. First base, to no surprise, is a very deep position. You've got the brand new Rizzo from Diamond Quest. He's all right. Babe Ruth, great swing, one of the best of the game. Cody Bellinger, I would like more power here. I think he's more valuable as an outfielder because of his defense. It doesn't not matter at first base, but you don't really get the effects of it playing at first base quite as much. David Justice, honestly a really fun card, inverse splits, but good against lefties and righties both. But you do have to complete the Braves to get him. We have Frank Thomas, Freddie Freeman. Not a ton of power this year, unfortunately, for Fredward. A little disrespectful, I think. Jake Berger, I love. Batista, I wish he had better stats against lefties. Kind of holds him back. Jurickson Profar, that man is juiced to the gills. And you actually can't pull him anymore. So he's going up and up and up in price. Whenever a guy gets suspended due to steroids, they make the card unpullable. So if you notice, if you go to where to find the card, it will say just the market. You can no longer pull him, so that card's going to be really expensive. Berkman, also very expensive card, but a good one, a switch hitter. Mark McGwire. Now, this is an interesting thing. So for online play, Mark McGwire on All-Star difficulty and lower, so the early parts of ranked seasons, events, Battle Royale, he's great. But when you get up there higher, that vision, which is really poor, it's like 30, is really difficult. You're going to strike out a lot with guys like McGwire, so I try to keep a balance of an average regular player online for these rankings, and if someone particularly will not play well at the high difficulties, I'll try to mention it. But McGwire is cheap. Same thing you can be said with a lot of these other first basemen like Max Muncy. He just doesn't have a lot of contact and vision, so it's difficult to use them at higher difficulties. Hoskins, Richie Sexton, those are my guys. Stan Musial, really great swing, really high contact, just not a ton of power. Vladdy, love him, always playing up at inside edge. C tier, try to go through us a little bit quicker. Again, lots of great options. I think you could easily find someone at B tier. A lot of these cards are free, but Gold Tony Taters is still good, not as quite as good as the Diamond, of course. You've got Uncle Ben's Rice once again, Buck Leonard, Kobe Mayo, Hank Greenberg, Isaac Paredes, Ryan Howard. If you need someone off the bench to just maul righties, he is your guy. You've got Nick Kurtz. Got to put in the requisite pause. I know a lot of you guys really like that card. With Merrifield, which we'll see in other positions because he's a Swiss Army knife on the Diamond. And then D tier. Like, no shade at these cards, but there's a lot of good first basemen, right? So we'll move on to second base, where at the top, I'm going to put Bregman and Ketel Marte. I have had great success with Alex Bregman. He is one of the most balanced cards of the game between contact power, then also having pretty good vision and clutch. And he's also great defender. I mean, he's got 80+ fielding. He is fast enough. I love that card. He can play second and third, which makes him even more valuable. Then Ketel Marte, switch hitter, also he can play in the outfield. He can play shortstop. He can play a handful of positions. He's awesome, once again, as always this year. Go on to A tier. Gleyber Torres, this is one of my favorite cards of the game. He's so good. He is so balanced. He doesn't have a ton of power against righties, but he has great contact, so at least you get something there. Jason Kipnis, he's all right. No secondaries does hurt a little bit. I think the card is decent. Not bad, but not quite S tier, although he is a 92. Jordan Westburg, brand new POTM card for the Orioles. I think he's pretty decent. Better against righties, of course, in this case. There's a lot of good lefty pitchers, so I definitely keep that meta in mind as well. Kristen Campbell, he's so good. This is one of the best, 15, 10K cards that you could possibly buy on the market. He's great. Leo Dallas, DeVries, switch hitter. He's awesome. I've had great luck with him so far. Mookie Betts can play a handful of positions, always up on inside edge, and he's getting that weight up a little bit too, so he's getting beefy. The power's coming back. Tommy Edman, brand new switch hitter. Tommy tanks. He doesn't hit that many. His power's a little bit low, but great card still. Travis Bazzana, one of my favorites. He was my first Parallel 5 card this year. And then Witt, the hit Merrifield. I love him. He can play first, second. He can play the whole outfield. He is so valuable. Now that I got the Royals collection done, he is going to be on my bench for quite some time. I also happen to really like his swing. He's got max contact against lefties. Perfect bench guy. B tier, Soriano. This card is pretty decent overall from the Cubs team affinity. Carson Williams. Nearly Parallel 5 for me. He's got Diamond Shield defense. I mainly used him at shortstop. He always made the play. He made plays that other guys could not make, and that is different in MLB 25 compared to other years. The real great defenders actually stick out. JJ Weatherholt, he's a pretty good option. Junior Caminero carried me in my Battle Royale run. I really like him. Marcus Semien, some of the best defense you'll find. Very valuable at second base and shortstop. Up the middle. You can always super dive to get to the ball, but if you have a poor reaction, you're not going to make it up. Matt Shaw and Max Muncy, the skinny one, also at B tier. C tier, we've got a variety of cards. Bill Mazeroski, Bobby Grich. I know there's a lot of fans of that card within this channel. Brooks Lee for my Twins, switch hitter. He's pretty fun. Bryson Stott, great D. Dick Allen, how can he not love Dick? Christian Moore, I know a lot of fanatics about this card. I see that all the time in my Twitch chat. Jackson Barrels. Ian Kinsler is a perfect example of where there's just no defense here. He's got sub 60 reaction, and you feel that. I'll also talk about that with his teammate Michael Young. It is very hard to use those cards because if I get hit a routine ground ball and they don't make a good reaction, that's the difference of a base hit and me getting out of the inning with the double play. It is a killer. You need good reaction. Otherwise, we've got Hank Aaron can play second base alongside the outfield. Jose Altuve, horrible defense. And you get the secondary penalty because the Astros made the brilliant idea to now have him play in left field. Joe Morgan, the elbow god, he's there as well. DJ LeMahieu, kind of fun with his great contact and really high fielding. So, kind of goes to show those guys do have a little bit more value this year. Then D-tier, again, nothing personal with the with these players here. They're just at like the tail end of who I would recommend. Moving on to third base at S tier, Chase Headley, Jose Ramirez, and Rafael Devers. I think Jose Ramirez might be the best card of the game that is not a collection. A switch hitter, pretty decent defensively. He can run, he can steal, he can hit for power, he can hit for contact. He's got lots of quirks. He's got a good right hook. Jose Ramirez is great. Chase Headley, we already talked about him. Rafael Devers doesn't have great fielding. I think 68 reaction, sub 70 fielding rating. That you will notice that, but one of the best hitters in the game right now. I always love his swing. A tier, Bregman, Westbrook, Batista, Campbell. We talked about them. All of them can play some secondaries, which is definitely nice. Recommend those at a couple of different positions. B tier, we've got Adrian Beltre. He's just not a great hitter, doesn't have a ton of power, but really high defense. If you're getting frustrated with someone who won't make plays for you at the hot corner, get Beltre. And if you don't use your bench, consider getting a defensive replacement for the end of the game. You know, whether it be an infielder or an outfielder, someone who can come in late innings and be a more assured glove out there. They do it in real life, do it in DD. Otherwise, we've got David Wright, who is a decent option. First time seeing him on this tier list. Ellie de la Cruz. I love his swing. He's my Road to the Show character swing. He just does not hit lefties too well in the game, but the speed kills. As does every year, but especially this year. Speed does kill. George Brett, love his swing. Fielding just a little bit subpar. We've got Jake Berger. I talked about him a little bit, but really a big fan of him. Always have liked Burger Bombs within MLB The Show. Gunnar Henderson, another great swing. I think they kind of cheaped him on his attributes a little bit. Kyle Seager, a lot of fans of that card. Lefty versus lefty darling, inverse splits. Scary Terry Pendleton. I know people are probably going to hate me for putting him in B tier. I can't hit. You threw me a beach ball towards the plate. I couldn't hit it with Terry. Or actually, I would hit it, but it would go 80 miles an hour right into somebody's glove. He's got no pop. He's like the unluckiest guy I've ever seen, and he's poor for me in the field as well. Sorry, that one is personal, Terry. I'm excited for his MVP card, though. Hopefully that one's better. Austin Riley, I used a bunch early game. Love his swing. Really good offensive stats and plays up on inside edge. You've got a couple more options here. Golds, Manny Machado, Matt Chapman that you could look at. Yoan Moncada, Brooks Lee, a couple of switch hitters. Switch hitters are always going to be very popular. And then D tier, once again, shout out Paul Molitor. Probably fired too soon from the Twins. Shortstop, S tier, Bobby Witt Jr. and Ketel Marte. Bobby, talked about getting cheaped on attributes. It is a damn shame. He hit like 30 plus home runs last year. They gave him like 50, 60 power. It's crazy. They did him so raw, but he's still really good because he's 99 speed, maxed out fielding. And he's still got good contact, always playing up on inside edge, got almost every quirk. I've been loving him since I was lucky enough to pull him. Ketel's great. We already talked about him. A tier of shortstops, only brand new one is Francisco Lindor. Love his swing, one of my favorites every year, and you get it from both the right and the left-hand side of the batter's box. He's great versus both, and an also exceptional defender. So really good shortstop that you could find there. Otherwise, again, you guys probably understand a little bit. Like Leo DeVries is free. Kristen Campbell's pretty cheap. Carson Williams is in the pipeline collection. So there's definitely still a lot of good cards that you guys can get for free or very cheap. You don't have to go and spend 50, 60K on Jimmy Rollins, who I think is not that great. He's got like 70 fielding, which for Jimmy Rollins, who's a great defender, kind of hurts, and then he's just not that good against either side. A switch hitter's great, but it's definitely aided when you have good attributes. Otherwise, Corey Seager, I hate that he is 20 speed because, again, like I talked with Ortiz, it really hinders you in your at-bats when those guys don't hit the home runs. But he does hit a lot of home runs for me. Corey Seager, I am a big fan of. Otherwise, new guys, we've got Willie Adames from Diamond Quest. Not a big fan. Not great hitting attributes of this card. Didn't really like his swing when I used him. Trey Turner's got one of the best swings in the game. On the flip side, unfortunately, his defense is great. Doesn't have a ton of power, but if he gets an upgrade this year, or if he gets a better card, that's probably going to be right up at the top of this tier list. We've got Enrique Hernandez, underrated card, super utility darling. Michael Young, one of my favorite cards to hit with truly every single year. Cannot field a lick within this game. It's terrible. He nearly killed my BR run that I went 10-1 multiple times. Connor Griffin, much better defender. I know a lot of people like that card. Derek Jeter, really good hitting. Not great power, but great contact. Just the fielding for Jeter's not so great. I get Cal Ripken Jr. from the Team Affinity. Arjun Nimala, I know a lot of people like that card for the Blue Jays. He was in the spring breakout showdown that you could get him. And a couple of D tiers. Shout out Kevin McGonigal for sounding like he came out of Harry Potter. The outfielders. Now this gets a little weird because throughout all of this, we've talked about the secondaries, right? Well, a lot of players don't have secondaries this year. Even like center fielders, they say can't play left or right field. Don't worry about it. Unless they've got like no fielding, in which you probably shouldn't be playing them in the outfield anyway, it's not a big hit for a center fielder to play left or for a center fielder to play right, even if they don't have the secondary position. But that being said, absolutely do not put a Manny Ramirez in center field or else you deserve what's coming to you. So S tier, Carlos Beltran, obviously in a tier of his own. He's the best card of the game by a mile. It's not even close. A tier, Santander. I've witnessed him drop literally just not close his glove multiple times. Keep that in mind. You've got the new chase card, Brian Reynolds. He is very expensive, over 100,000 stubs, but I think he's good, so there's that. Juan Soto, also very expensive, but he's good. Cattell, very expensive, but he's good. Trout, very expensive, but he's good. Ohtani, very expensive, but he's good. Steve Finley, very expensive, but he's good. Mickey Mantle, he's like 20K. I guess you can't get the gold-plated version for 20K. You'd have to get 1,000 rating. But, yeah, outfielders to the top end, I think, are definitely more expensive right now for the best of the best. But there's still great options in B tier. I can't put Judge in A. He can't field. I think it's wrong. I get he dropped a ball in the World Series. He's not nearly as bad as the game makes him out to be. He's got like 40 speed, like 50 reaction. He's unusable, in my opinion, for the outfield. So again, I keep that in mind with these rankings. Now, for some cheaper or free cards, you've got the Jose Bautista right here, Roman Anthony in the Pipeline collection. You probably have gotten enough cards of that to get Roman Anthony. I see him a lot online. Walker Jenkins, Travis Bazzana, of course, Manny Ramirez. They say they fixed his hair, the dreadlock frame drops that would happen. Some people say they've never seen it. I've experienced it a bunch. Playing at Yankee Stadium the other day, almost felt like my PlayStation was gonna grow wings and fly through the window. I could count the frames on one hand that I was experiencing while the pitch was coming to the plate. It was bad. But you've got some other guys like Bellinger, like I said, you notice the fielding out there. It's really great. Dylan Cruz, another cheaper card that you can pick up. There's so many outfield options. You've got 3 positions to field, so naturally there's going to be a comical amount that we're going to list here. Bobby Abreu, I think we might have talked about him earlier. It was probably Dick Allen, just same sort of card art. A lot of people like him. You've got Andrew McCutchen, shout out the Berg. Curtis Granderson, James Wood. I know people like that card. Jim Edmonds, Jorge Soler. Doesn't bring a glove to the ballpark, but he definitely brings his bat. Same as Kyle Schwarber. I'm having a tough time on the high difficulties hitting with Schwarber. I do occasionally get really lucky with him, but yeah, it is going to be tougher when you get to the higher difficulties. Got guys like Max Clark here. He's not an exceptional hitter. I know some people have hit very well with him. I've given up tanks to that Max Clark card, but he's primarily great because he's super fast and he's got great fielding. So again, maybe lefty bench bat / defensive replacement late in games. Think about that. Yordan Alvarez, again, love that guy. One of my favorite hitting cards of the game. Simply can't field. He's so bad out there. You've got some other ones too. Ryan Braun from many seasons. Acuna, not so fast anymore, just 60 speed on that card. Sammy Sosa, Tyler O'Neill, Vlad. Those are some cheaper cards that you can buy on the marketplace. Reggie Sanders from the Reds collection. There's a lot of outfielders. D tier, this is mostly golds, but a couple diamonds like Ted Williams, who again, I just think you really should not be playing with him in the outfield because he's piss poor defensively. And then, yeah, you get a wide variety. A lot of these guys have secondaries like Merrill. We've seen quite a few times here. Some newcomers like Mike Conforto. If you're looking for a gold card, you get him free in the New Threads program. Very good bat. Really good in my Battle Royale run. And then there's Richie Ashcheeks. You can also pick him. Now, here's a fun one. Here is what I call DH me please, because these guys should only be used at the designated hitter role, in my opinion. If this was my team, I can't play him in the field. Judge Ohtani. I guess you could play Shohei this one. There's just not really a point to. If you have the Ohtani card, you should DH him so you can also pitch him. And if he's in an outfield spot, you don't get to replenish stamina, so you can't use him as a pitcher. So I don't think there's any reason to ever have him in the outfield anyway. He's not good. The Judge, he's just slow. His ratings are poor. Santander, Schwarber. Tucker's got like 30 speed of the outfield. He's tough to use. Manny Ramirez nearly cost my run to the World Series. He dropped multiple balls. Just complete jackass in left field. So he is now at the DH spot. Yordan, we talked about him. And then Soler, Big Bear, Shohei, and Ted Williams as well. That's going to do it for the hitters. Let's move on to the pitchers, where we're, of course, going to get controversial because pitchers, you don't really, not that overall does not matter, but the overall is not the big factor. I have 86 out Leiter in A tier, and he's going to be above guys who are higher rating than him. Roger Clemens, the Rocket, of course, he's the best. He's in a tier of his own. Nobody sniffs his jock. Although they should. They might get some radiation. They might catch a contact high, and they're too going to be an all-time great pitcher. For A tier, the guy's reasonably below Clemens, but still very good. I would say Al Leiter, who's in the Blue Jays collection. Andy Pettitte, he won my World Series game for me. He's the Battle Royale Flawless card. Chris Sale, about 20-30K, very good. Fernando Valenzuela, unaffordable for most. Dodgers collection, I don't have him, but I sure as hell hate facing him. Noah Schultz, he's cheap. He's really good. Funky motion, great pitch mix. And again, pitch mix is a big factor. The things that I consider when ranking pitchers is, one, their mechanics, how are they releasing the ball? Two would be their pitch mix, their velocity, and then their per nines, hit K and BB, and overall control, because you need to throw strikes with these guys. Like Ohtani, for example, he's got nasty stuff, but he's really difficult to control, especially on high difficulties where it is more difficult and you get hit harder if you don't get a perfect pinpoint or perfect peer analog, whatever your pitching input happens to be. So if you face someone who chases all the time, great, but if you face a player who's competent at the plate, who's disciplined, very difficult. So I do value control a good bit. Tarek Skubal, Steve Carlton. You just notice the amount of lefties here. You've got a lot. The only non-lefty within my A tier is Shohei Ohtani. Otherwise, Leiter, Pettitte, Sale, Fernando, Schultz, Tarek, and Carlton are all southpaws. Rogers not. There's a lot of lefties that are carrying the meta. And then you see a couple of more lefties with CC Sabathia and Johan Santana, which pitch mix isn't great on this card. Just not a huge fan of it. I've had success facing him. Corbin Burns, Some people love Corbin Burnes, think he's one of the best pitchers of the game. Some claim he's batting practice. Gaylord Perry, Brand, I don't think he might be a new legend this year. He definitely was in the game before, but that card's pretty solid, same as Jordan Zimmerman. Just both those cards very expensive as their collection rewards. Roki Sasaki, I get a lot of questions about this card. He's like a perfect example, kind of like his teammate, Shohei Ohtani. Great stuff. I mean, 4-pitch mix, but he's got nasty stuff, throws hard velocity, just hard to control him. Even when you have perfect pinpoints, it's hard to control because the perfect accuracy region is just so damn big. You know, you could set up on the corner and it winds up down the middle, even though it was a perfect pitch. So it's difficult, especially on the high difficulties, to sometimes use those guys, but also every pitcher will be better on high difficulties because it's more difficult to hit. So there's that trade-off too. Ubaldo Jimenez, he's one of my favorites. I really do love that card. You know, I got him. He was the first cornerstone card I picked, and I think I chose right. Walker Buehler from Diamond Quest, big fan of him. He's got good stuff. C tier. These cards are by no means bad. I just probably wouldn't start them personally, or I would prioritize the guys above. Like Dollander, very good velocity, not great control. Buchholz, you're probably going to only have him there for the Red Sox boost. Crochet, low stamina. It's tough to use a pitcher with low stamina because, again, if you're playing a disciplined player at the plate, you're probably throwing a handful of pitches per at-bat. You're going like 5-6 deep, and that just eats away at his stamina, so he'll go 4 or 5 innings, which makes it more difficult on your bullpen. George Kirby, kind of nasty. I don't see enough love for that card. Maddox got a great sinker, great control, of course. Jackson Jobe, I know there's a bunch of fans of this card. Musina, not high velocity, but he paints, and that is definitely fun. Arrieta, I hate this card. I've gotten shelled like 6 times using him. I hit him well, but I know other people like him. Jim Cott, if you want to try a junk baller, he's one of the best in the game right now. Mackenzie Gore and Joe Musgrove, couple underrated arms that you could try out. Max Fried is in there. Vida Blue, really fun. Tough to hit, tough mechanics. Really good pitch differentials on velocity as well. He's pretty fun. Roy Halladay, low per 9s, but I always like the Doc. Paul Skeens, I hate that he's in C tier because he should be so good. He's obviously one of the best pitchers in real life, and he's got 5 pitches, but the pitch mix he has just doesn't really work well in the game. I do really well against right-handed batters with him, but versus lefties or versus switch hitters, which is most, like 6 of people's teams, 6 of their hitters are switch hitters, it is so difficult to get them out because he doesn't have a splitter. Although he throws one in real life, so make that make sense. It's really frustrating. I wish I liked that Skeens more because I pulled him fairly early on, and I just have not had good success with him against good players. I've used him at events, and he's shredded. Some people can't hit velocity, and those pitchers will work out just fine for you, but where I am at, he has not had success, going up towards World Series. So then D tier, I probably would not recommend these guys here. You've got a lot of usual suspects that just don't have a good pitch mix or have low velocity. I mean, Kerry Wood and Nolan Ryan. Cards that can't hit the broadside of a barn and they throw like 96. I mean, it'd be one thing if they had outlier, but they don't have that to fall back on. The new McClanahan is not great, unfortunately. Kershaw, I scored 11 versus him the other day. I just think he's easy to read. This year, JV also just doesn't have great velocity. I don't want to rag on these cards too much. Let's go to the bullpen and finish things up. So these are right-handed relievers, S tier. I'm putting Raleigh Fingers, the Fingermeister, in the S tier. He's always one of my favorite bullpen arms. I got him, I think, 2nd in team affinity, and I don't regret it. I don't know when he's going to be taken out of my pen. He's reliable. He's consistent, he throws strikes, and he's got great stuff. Darren O'Day, of course, collection card. He's really good. Super on control, very tough to hit mechanics, and some of the best per 9s. Yeah, that'll play. Trevor Hoffman, you need the Padres collection for him. So Fingers is pretty obtainable. These two, a little bit more tough, but Hoffman I always do love. Justin Martinez, team affinity, super high velo, little control issues, but he's nasty. Kenley Jansen, this is not by any means my favorite Kenley card, but his mechanics, his motion it's tough. He's deceptive with a cutter, a two-seam, and a slider. He does damage. I always think Kenley plays way above whatever his actual considered meta is because of that fact. Gossage is literally over 100,000 stubs, and you're not going to pay that for one reliever. He's good, but is what it is. Dibble, he's also expensive. You don't need them. Kenley's like 10K. Justin Martinez, Raleigh Fingers, they're free in Team Affinity. And then in B tier, there's a lot of good golds that you could use as well. Garcia, Ryan Presley, Griffin Jacks, Jeff Hoffman, Lee Smith, Blake Trinan, those are all excellent options. Emmanuel Clase and Mason Miller, some of the best closers in real life. I just think their pitch mix doesn't really do that well in high difficulty settings, unfortunately. Clase, very good accuracy. He's got outlier cutter. You know, it's just hard to utilize this mix too much. It's all fastballs and sliders, and the slider even goes like 92. So it can be tough, but some people do have trouble hitting him. And then C tier, a couple extra guys. Mandingo, Felix Bautista, welcome back, honey. Devin Williams, not the best pitch mix on this card. I hit him very well. I see him a lot. I don't think he's that good personally. Let's move on to lefties, the southpaws. This is always the thinnest position of the game. There's not that many good left-handed pitchers. Aroldis Chapman, I don't think he's great. I don't think he's, like, unhittable. Some people really have trouble with him. I have trouble pitching with him because he's so hard to control. Again, the pars are so big. It's really difficult to hit the corners because you can have a perfect pitch, but it falls in the middle of the plate, and then sure, it's 102, but it's down the heart, so it's not as difficult to hit, of course. So, I don't know. Lefties are tough. Andrew Miller, Hobie Milner. Miller and Milner. Wow. John Franco, Matt Strom. Matt Strom is one of my favorite lefties in the game. The cutter, I think, is my favorite pitch this year. The cutter is super, super valuable. Whether you're going, left on right, going inside, trying to miss a barrel. Even backdoor cutters are nice. They typically have good control, easy to throw those pitches. You can get a couple strikes with them. B tier, Billy Wagner, Mark Davis, and Tanner Scott. Some diamonds. Just not the best pitch mixes. B-Wags doesn't have outlier, which kind of minimizes how good he can be. Then C tier, this pisses me off. Give Josh Hader the sinker in the game. He throws a sinker in real life. It's annoying. They're very similar pitches, but the sinker's far better within Diamond Dynasty than a two-seamer. So really wish they'd make that change. Otherwise, another Tanner Scott, Tyler Holton, Jose Alvarado, and Danny Kaloum. And that is all. That is the mega tier list, a very long 40-plus minute video here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know where I am wrong, because I'm sure I made some mistakes here. Nearly every card. Obviously, we're not going to cheer list bronzes and silvers, but pretty much probably every diamond I think we did cover within this video, and a lot of golds as well. This hopefully should help you out, give you some guidance, give you some recommendations ahead of the Weekend Classic, ahead of the second inning into what has been a pretty decent launch from MLB The Show so far. I think I will be doing an overall review of my opinions. There's definitely some things that need work, but there's a lot that they've done right this year as well. So we'll talk about that when it comes. I'll shut up. All right. Thank you guys for watching so much. Catch you guys on the next time.